It's that magical time of year when we're all feeling equal parts inspired and a little overwhelmed by the blank slate ahead. Resolutions don't have to be this huge, overwhelming, all or nothing thing. This is a no pressure, guilt free space where we're not aiming for perfection. Instead, we're aiming for progress, where we can talk about realistic goals, reflect on the past, and maybe even laugh about the resolutions we've already broken. So whether you're team New Year, New Me, or more like New Year, same me, but trying desperately to change, you're in the right place.
We're back! Did you miss us? Because we definitely missed you. I am Cheska Antonio from Tomcat Circle of Talents.
And I am Alex Carlos, also from Tomcat Circle of Talents. And we welcome you to Cat Talk, the Tomcat podcast. How are you doing today, Cheska? How did you find the holidays?
I really found the holidays really warm and cozy. I really enjoyed it kasi to be honest, no Alex, I had the time of my life during the holidays because Filipino celebrations, especially during Christmas and New Year, really hits differently. And for some reason, talagang yung food, yung pinaka-inaabangan ng lahat. Am I right?
Oo naman, kasi it brings us all together, especially in the Filipino culture na very tight-knit yung family. Like in my case, yung family ko, meron ako sa Rizal and Pampanga and Quezon. So there were a lot of different food that I tried. And syempre, iba-iba rin yung kwentuhan kada family.
Yes, and for us naman, like specifically my family, like we really enjoy Japanese cuisine. So kapag handaan, puro Japanese food talagang nasa spread and like that's my favorite thing since alam mo yun, parang nagkakasundo kami when it comes to food.
Yeah, I love Japanese food, and it's safe to say, Cheska, that we had the perfect end to a not-so-perfect year. And thankfully, we have Cat Talk to jumpstart a welcoming year. So, to everyone listening, welcome to our pilot episode.
Looking back from last year, it definitely had its ups and downs, pero I'm glad to have spent the remaining days of 2024 surrounded by nothing but positivity. But you know, Alex, I think for this year, I really want to take charge of my life. Kasi for the past year, I've always left it up to fate to decide things for me. Kasi my favorite catchphrase actually last year was, Lord, give me a sign. And I must admit that it didn't really get me as far as I would have wanted.
I'm actually guilty of the same thing, Cheska. Kumbaga, manifest ka lang na manifest. Pero sometimes it's really not enough. But we have a whole year ahead to work on that. It's like a blank canvas laid right in front of us. There's always room for growth and, syempre, improvement.
Alright then, so why don't we list down our resolutions for the year?
I love that. So let me start, Cheska. My first resolution is to actually get better at managing my time. Kasi for my whole life, lagi kong sinasabi na I'm a pressure learner. So I wait until the last minute para gawin yung schoolworks ko. To the point na nakakatulog na ako, tapos pagising ko sa umaga, nagmamadali na ako. I'd only have 2 hours to do all my schoolworks. And that left me feeling constantly stressed. So this year, I really want to create a more structured day-to-day schedule. Ikaw ba?
I could totally agree with that, Alex. Kasi ako rin, like what you said, pressure learner, parang I could really relate to that term. Kasi like iba talaga yung feeling na when you're like running for a deadline. Kasi like yung parang yung endorphins mo, yung like talaga,
lumalakas ka, diba?
Yung there's like this certain rush that you feel na yung ideas mo, bigla na lang siyang lumalabas unexpectedly when it's time na, alam mo yun, ilang minutes na lang or a few hours na lang before the deadline.
Oh, bigla ka na lang lumalakas. But hindi kasi laging ganun dapat yung mindset kasi some things require more effort. So time management is such a game changer, especially sa atin na BS Org students.
Yes.
Diba kasi ako, I have 3 orgs and you have?
I have 2, but still very heavy.
It's still very heavy. So, di talaga maiiwasan yung overlap sa schedules and heavy workloads. That's why this year, my first resolution is really to practice better boundaries. Saying no when I really, really need to.
Same here, Alex, because one thing I kind of realized from last year is that I took on way too much to the point na parang it really drained my energy. And I guess that I really should take time to prioritize myself without feeling guilty.
Yeah, that's actually a beautiful statement. It's important, but it's a difficult skill to acquire. So, ikaw, do you have a strategy in mind on how you're gonna set those boundaries?
Siguro I've started kasi asking myself like one key question before committing to anything, and it's, does this align with my values and priorities? And if the answer is no, then I will give myself the permission to say no. Pero I know that it can still be hard at first kasi syempre definitely I'm still work in progress.
Yeah, that's right. Were there any moments na you know that you had a lot to do but you still wanted to take on more work?
Yeah, definitely. Since ako, like, very sakitin kong tao, pero I hate letting down other people, especially if I've already said yes to a commitment. So, even if I'm like physically drained, talagang I push myself to my limits.
Yeah, it's important that we also balance our people-pleasing tendency and yung prioritizing our mental health. So I really love that tip. It's simple but effective, and honestly, saying no can feel like self-care sometimes.
Yes, Alex. So, as we move on into the new year, I actually have a resolution in mind rin
What's
that's
that?
kind of both exciting and honestly a bit intimidating siya, no? So, it's trying new things and embracing scary opportunities.
Oh, you're absolutely right. It's so easy to get stuck in our comfort zone. And there's actually a quote I love that says, everything you want is on the other side of fear. Kasi it's so easy to avoid what scares us, but this year we definitely have to challenge ourselves to lean into that fear, may it be trying totally something new or just taking on a challenge na you wouldn't do or is out of reach.
Yeah, that hits the spot, Alex. So, like, talking about trying new things, siguro I could share about like what I've been doing currently. I've been really focused on like prioritizing my health and like my fitness journey, kumbaga. So, I've been trying going to the gym, and I've been loving like both like yung mga high intensity and low intensity workouts. So that also parang kasama na dun is like yung yoga and Pilates.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it really is so fun. And syempre like at first, it was like super intimidating. Pero once I got the hang of it and like really took myself to be consistent, like alam mo yung feeling na you're enjoying it. Like it's not a chore anymore.
Yeah, and it's so fun to do when you have friends to do it
Yes.
with, diba? Kasi I remember one friend asking me to try out voice acting, and it's,
Wow.
diba? It's interesting kasi that's something I normally wouldn't do. It's one thing to host and be on the serious side of things, but to learn how to play with your skill set is something that you'd want to try kasi lumalabas ka out of your shell, and it's like you get to reinvent a new part of yourself that you didn't know existed.
That's so true. And alam mo, Alex, also for me, I feel like trying new things doesn't always have to be a grand leap, no? Kasi
naman.
sometimes it's like the small everyday choices that really brings us the most growth.
That's right, and it's really alright and valid to be scared because fear is definitely part of the process. Kagaya nga ng isang quote sa Princess Diaries, "The brave may not live forever, but the cautious does not live at all." That's beautiful, no?
that's so
I love that
nice.
movie. And I think a lot of people wait until they're not scared anymore before they try something new. But truth is, fear often doesn't go away. So you just have to do it against all odds.
That's so true. And I feel like fear, kasi it doesn't really disappear. It just kind of gets more manageable when you realize na parang it doesn't have control over you anymore. So, I really embrace the things that scares you because those are often the things na talagang magli-lead you towards the biggest personal breakthroughs and growth.
And speaking of personal growth, Cheska, that actually ties with my last resolution this year, and I guess this is something that we all need at some point in life. Giving second chances. I know the idea of starting over can feel very daunting, but hey, it's often where most meaningful growth happens. Diba, Cheska?
I definitely agree with you. Kasi second chances are about like grace, if you ask me. Whether it's about forgiving yourself for past mistakes or even giving someone else an opportunity to grow man lang. So it's like really a way of saying na it's completely fine for you to start over.
Oo, I actually remember a certain situation from last year that I've experienced. So, meron akong friend na sobrang close kami to the point that we talk every day. And then one day, he just ghosted me na parang walang nangyari. And of course, that hurts so much, diba? And if there's anything else that our dear Thomasians could share with us, we'd totally appreciate that so we could mention it on our next episodes. And going back to that friend, wala eh. Sometimes it really hurts you to the point na you question your self-worth. But months later, we got to reconcile. I got to talk to him again. And yun na, okay lang. Kasi sometimes you just have to know where people are coming from eh.
Well, that's such a beautiful example. Pero my example naman is like very related to you, pero I'm the other side. I feel like I'm the other side of the coin since
The ghoster.
Yeah, pero not naman in a bad way because like I'm so introverted that I really keep to myself like my problems, and I feel like kapag when I share, like I burden other people and parang I become like so narcissistic, which is like sobrang OA ng thinking. Pero like sometimes like I unintentionally cut off people or like kind of ghost them for a while just because like I feel like I have so much on my plate and parang ayoko silang idamay. Like for me it's like a good intention pero like my action parang it doesn't match. So yun, like with your example, like that really like kind of parang I got
Like
called
resonate.
out. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, it's really about knowing where people are coming from. You should come from a place of understanding, of comfort, and care. So, a key part of giving second chances, Rin, is approaching things with a fresh perspective and just letting go of the guilt from past attempts.
Tama ka dyan, Alex. And this resolution doesn't just apply, like what I've said, to big moments, no? Kasi it can also be about like small things. And then actually for me, like my second chance resolution is about revisiting an old goal I once slipped in.
Ano to?
Okay, so like it's really not known. Like even my college friends don't know. I feel like the only people who know it is like the people I know from my high school, like everyone there.
Interesting.
Since I've been like ever since I was a child, like my mom's like main passion na talagang i-take ko was singing. And like competitive singing siya. Like hindi siya yung like sa mga contest lang. Yung talagang
international,
yeah,
TV,
like that,
ganon.
Like that level. So like I've joined like multiple singing competitions, like both like locally and like on TV, and like I'm so scared to talk about it kasi I feel like there's always this pressure na, oh, why are you not singing anymore? Parang there's always that question na, oh, why are you not singing? Like parang never
Parang you have to be that always.
So like parang naging resentment siya, like, and now that I've like kind of took up hosting, I feel like it's close, pero kasi I enjoy it more kesa ng singing kasi like there's this like certain pressure of like singing na kailangan mong i-maintain.
Oo, mas mahirap siya. And I really love that approach kasi you get to get out of your shell and adapt your skills to what is actually presented in front of you. So, ayan, it's also about giving yourself the second chance in everything, whether, diba, ikaw, you've given yourself another shot at the goal, or in my case, it's forgiving someone who let me down, or generally, it's just about finding the strength to rise after a setback.
Yeah, and with that, we really encourage everyone listening today to embrace the opportunity for new beginnings because we really need to learn from past experiences and to keep moving forward no matter what the obstacle is.
Yeah, and as we have mentioned earlier, it's both exciting and scary when entering a new year. So I would really love to hear what our dear Thomasians would want to do for the new year. So maybe they could share it with us on our social media pages at TomcatUSD. So everyone says that the new year is a fresh start, and that haunts people, especially college students like us, who has the future within our grasp lang.
Yes, and you know, Alex, I feel like every year we continue to grow and mature as individuals, which is why I think it's not only important for us to think of the future, but also to take a moment to step back and look how far we've come.
Exactly. Kumbaga, chill ka lang.
Yes.
Cool ka lang. I so love that song. The past year may have had its ups and downs, but every challenge, every little win, it all adds up eh. Hanggang sa makikita mo na lang na, oh, ito na pala ako.
Yes.
Diba? Sometimes we get so caught up in chasing what's next that we forgot to acknowledge what's already been and done. So, to our listeners out there, make sure na you also give yourself a pat on the back.
Right, and to think about it, what's one thing from last year that made you realize, Alex, na parang, wow, I'm not the same person I was a year ago?
That's actually a good question, although a little bit difficult. But if I am to be honest, siguro yun yung ability to keep myself together despite so many hard instances. Like in the last year, I've actually lost my apartment, I lost my job, and I wasn't supposed to enroll already in UST. And despite it all being heavy, despite people telling me na, you're such an unlucky girl, I don't believe it. In fact, I feel like I'm so lucky and blessed because I have friends and family who support me, and I have a good way of looking at life in such a way that gusto ko yung buhay ko, and I want to achieve more because I know what it feels like to have nothing at all.
Yeah, and kasi it's your life. It's like you're the only person who can really understand what you're going through, and you really need to take charge of it. And I think it's also important to mention how growth rin, no, isn't always loud or obvious. Like sometimes, like it's really in those quiet, like very mundane moments na talagang mafe-feel mo na you're growing, and it's up to you to keep choosing yourself even when things are tough, or trying something new despite your fear. And I feel like the Thomasians could really relate to that, especially like you mga graduating students. So if you have like the same sentiments as us, like you should really chat with us at Tomcat UST.
That's right, Cheska. So this isn't to romanticize din naman, no, whatever you're going through. But sometimes, syempre kailangan you also acknowledge na okay lang to feel these things. So, ayon, to everyone who's listening right now, take a second to think about your growth over the past year. What's one thing that you're most proud of? You can write it down in your journal or share it with us by tagging us again at tomcat_UST, or simply just sit with it for a moment. Whatever it is, I'm sure that it's worth celebrating.
And I hope, like us, you welcome the new year with lessons learned, high hopes, and a sense of rediscovery that will help you motivate to do more, to strive for more. So let's keep growing one step at a time.
Yep, and as we reach the end of today's episode, we would like to take this time to thank Ms. Marisa Peyan, the president of UST Atelier Alumni Association Inc., and the whole team from Tomcat who helped bring this episode of Cat Talk to life. We truly appreciate all of the hard work because this episode would not have been possible without your efforts.
And of course, to everyone out there listening, thank you so much for tuning in. And we hope that you feel extra motivated today and ready to take on the challenges of life. So this was just the first episode, and we have so much more in store for you for the next episode. So stay tuned.
Yep, abangan nyo yan. Make sure to also follow us on all of our socials at TomcatUST in order to be updated with the latest happenings. Once again, I am Alex Carlos from Tomcat Circle of Talents.
And I am Cheska Antonio, also from Tomcat Circle of Talents. And this has been Cat Talk, the Tomcat podcast. Happy New Year, everyone!